From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
It's the day of the Arizona presidential preference election, and voters crowded the polls. We follow the action as the polls come to a close.
One voter, two ballots. How a Valley woman could have her vote counted twice.
And a terror attack in Brussels leaves over 30 dead. We talk with a journalist on the ground in Brussels.
Cronkite News starts now.
Welcome to Cronkite News. I'm Alexis Solari.
And I'm Ben Marjat. Thanks for joining us. Voters across the state found their way to the polls today, casting their vote for who they want to claim the spot as their Democratic and Republican presidential nominees.
Some voters literally spent hours in line to do something that was more to them than just connecting the line on a piece of paper. Reporter Julia Thatcher spoke with some folks who waited hours just to vote.
I cannot even begin to imagine the amount of people that have already gone through those voting booths. What surprised me most about today, however, was that everyone I spoke with was in a surprisingly good mood despite the lines.
An hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
Oh, it's 2 hours.
Parking lots were packed and lines were long. But can you believe just how long some were? Hundreds of people gathered at 7th Avenue in Glendale to cast their ballots, and all for different reasons.
A lot of good men died so I could stay in line to vote.
Because I feel like this is the first year where it's actually going to make a difference, and there's a huge amount of people that are actually going out to vote this year, and I want to be a part of that.
Seeing this many people wait in line made us curious if the turnout was anticipated.
Obviously not as long as they have been.
But one of the biggest culprits for the long lines?
The reason why we kind of condensed to 60 polling places is because the majority of our voters are not eligible to vote in today's election because they are independent voters, unfortunately.
The county court reporter's office said part of the preparations for today was making sure independent voters didn't show up to polling locations, but they said thousands still did. But the long lines didn't stop people from sitting in the sun and waiting their turn to make their voices heard. 98-year-old Mary DeWorth waited an hour in line before they brought her in from the sun to cast her vote.
Well, I think it's important to vote, and everybody should get out to vote.
The county court recorder's office stressed the importance that if you are registered as an independent, that you stay home. It will only create delays if you do vote, but if you are eligible, you can visit any of the voting locations. In Phoenix, Julia Thatcher, Cronkite News.
Maricopa County officials expected a record turnout in such a hotly contested race.
Reporter Lauren Ashley took to the polls to see what is bringing voters out in such large numbers.
This year's Arizona presidential preference primary is more relevant than in previous election cycles, and many voters waited to make sure their vote counted, even if that meant a long wait.
Very important to vote, especially if you're young. You want to get your voice out. We're the new generation coming up, so we definitely want to have our voice be heard and be able to make a change now that we can.
I feel that the early ballot, I feel like if I was to do that, I feel like I would make it like an early mistake or something like that. It sounds ridiculous, but and also because I also like to vote on the day that is voting because I feel like I'm obligated just to come out and vote and just see the people, and it's good to see all these people vote.
Signed up for an early ballot not too long ago because I actually did want to do it. It just didn't come in time, so I'll have the early ballot for the general election. But I am glad that I didn't get it this right away because I heard that people send in their early ballots and then a few people dropped. So I'm glad that, because I never had thought about that, like what happens when people drop and then you vote for them and then your vote doesn't count.
All those votes today translate into delegates. Arizona has 58 delegates on the Republican side in a winner-take-all race. For the Democrats, 85 delegates and superdelegates will be divided up based on the final percentage of votes cast. In the broadcast center, Lauren Ashley, Cronkite News.
When you don't like the candidates in your party, switch. That seems to be the pattern for many Arizonans. According to the county recorder's office, a large number of voters switched parties just in time for the presidential preference election.
But as Cronkite News reporter Jesse Schultz discovered, this also opens a window for voter fraud.
Amy Vanalik has lived in Arizona for more than 20 years and has voted in every election since. But this year, she experienced something new.
So I wanted to change my party affiliation. So I went online and changed my party affiliation, but then I received ballots for both Republicans and Democrats in the mail.
2 ballots and even more confusion.
I just want to know, like, who else is doing that, and if it could lead to voter fraud.
We took Vinolik's question to Maricopa County Recorder Helen Purcell, who tells Cronkite News it's all about the calendar. The cutoff to file for a party affiliation change was February 22nd, and early ballots went out just 2 days later. Since Vinolik filed at the last minute, the office hadn't recognized her party change before ballots were in the mail.
They can try to send them in, but they're not going to count. We would immediately remove that because that first ballot has already been disabled.
Even if you did receive 2 ballots in the mail, make sure to vote for the party that you're registered for, or else your vote could be invalid.
Purcell says Vinolik is probably not alone.
We had an awful lot of people change their registration on that last weekend before the cutoff. So I'm guessing that probably happened quite a bit.
Every vote counts, it should count, and I want to make sure that my vote counts and everybody gets 1 vote and not 2.
She plans to drop off her ballot at one of the 60 election sites around Maricopa County today. In Phoenix, Jesse Schultz, Cronkite News.
Of all the candidates on the ballot, Bernie Sanders is the only one still in Arizona. After a weekend with many candidate visits, the Vermont senator spends his day at the Northern Arizona University campus.
Despite being the underdog, the Vermont senator has held half a dozen events across the state, and Zizung visited Sanders' campaign office to see what's going on behind the scenes.
In the hours leading up to Arizona presidential preference election, volunteers and staffers work calmly and make their last pitch to Valley voters.
Y soy involuntario con la campaña de Bernie Sanders para la presidencia.
Reaching out in English and Spanish, many traveling hundreds of miles to make sure the senator secures the nomination in July.
It's pretty crazy. I arrived from New Mexico on Friday morning. Since then, we've been doing a mixture of phone banking, making calls to potential voters, and getting out the vote. Today, we're focused on hitting as many doors as possible.
With the clocks ticking, lunch has to be on the go. But on the other side of town, the enthusiasm is not well received. Chris Hurstam, who's been active in the Arizona state capitol for 3 decades, thinks the numbers are stacked against Sanders.
Hillary has such a large lead that Bernie Sanders needs to win about 70% of the Democratic vote from now until the convention. That is very hard to do.
While favored by her supporters for her experience as a seasoned politician, others think Hillary Clinton is lacking the trustworthiness on her rival, especially when it comes to immigration reform.
As a matter of fact, a lot of the measures that Hillary Clinton is supporting now in her run for presidency have been adopted through the Bernie Sanders immigration package. So it's really new to her.
Daniel Palomino also expressed disappointment towards Clinton's lack of action to stop deportation under Obama administration. In Phoenix, Zizung, Cronkite News.
Our election night coverage will continue throughout the evening on our website.
Visit cronkitenews.azpbs.org for continuing team coverage. And be sure to check out our Storify for a compilation of everything going on around the state as election night comes to a close.
And our coverage will continue into the night as we bring you a Cronkite News special live at 11. Join us late this evening for complete team coverage as returns come in from around the state. We will be live from Republican and Democrat watch parties and up-to-the-minute results. That's tonight at 11 on Arizona PBS.
Terror spread in Brussels this morning after multiple explosions in the airport and subway.
Coming up on Cronkite News, we talk with someone on the ground in Brussels.
And a housing scam leaving undocumented immigrants across the state in the red.
The true measure of all our actions is how long the good in them lasts.
This is who I am, where I'm from.
If you're on the right side of history, you can accomplish anything.
It's a connection between your present and your past.
Come this way. This is good. This is very good.
We are attempting to fulfill the promise of America.
The stories about who we are shape us.
This chance to go through a time machine.
Good heavenly days.
We should know our history.
It informs, but it doesn't constrict you.
It's a framework to carry out human activity.
The sky is the limit.
It started a long time ago.
For only the third time in the award's 74-year history, a Phoenix-based news operation wins the prestigious Alfred I. DuPont Columbia Award for Excellence in Broadcast Journalism. And this year, that news operation is Cronkite News, the news division of Arizona PBS, honored for its work on the groundbreaking documentary, Hooked, Tracking Heroin's Hold on Arizona. Cronkite News at Arizona PBS, award-winning journalism you can count on from the station you trust.
At least 30 people are dead, and reports list the number of wounded at anywhere from 185 to 230 people after a terrorist attack in Belgium.
ISIS is claiming responsibility for the Tuesday morning attacks at an airport and subway station in the nation's capital, Brussels. Belgian officials say they are investigating under the working assumption that the attackers are from the same ISIS network that organized the Paris attacks in November. Raids after the attack led to the discovery of a nail bomb, chemical products, and an ISIS flag in a nearby neighborhood. President Obama addressed the attack and offered his condolences from Cuba today.
We will do whatever is necessary to support our friend and ally Belgium in bringing to justice those who are responsible.
And candidates vying for the spot to be the next commander-in-chief also spoke about the attacks and what it means moving forward.
It is clear to me, and I think the entire civilized world, that ISIS must be destroyed.
I'm a little surprised that the president is going to a baseball game when I believe he should. Had I been president, I would have cut short my visit. I would have flown home. I would have conducted calls jointly with heads of state.
You've got to take them on the internet. You know, you can put walls around your country, but you don't keep out the internet. And that has been a major tool for radicalizing, recruiting, propagandizing that ISIS is quite sophisticated at using.
The time for the president's political correctness has passed. The first priority of the commander-in-chief should be keeping America safe.
Republican Donald Trump took to Twitter for his response, saying, "My heart and prayers go out to all of the victims of the terrible Brussels tragedy. This madness must be stopped, and I will stop it."
Cronkite News spoke with a Romanian journalist on the ground in Brussels. Vlad Odubescu, who studied at the Cronkite School last year under a fellowship program, was visiting his sister who lives near the targeted airport. We got his perspective in the aftermath of the attacks.
I managed to get in an area where I could do photos. It was a very strange image for me because there are lots of people working there, and those areas were almost completely empty now. People gathered near a subway station where they were trying to say that they are not afraid. There were people from countries very far away from Europe, even. I saw messages from people from Uruguay, from Chile, saying that they love the city and they want it as it was before.
Arizona's teacher shortage is causing quite the headache for districts.
Coming up on Cronkite News, how some districts are getting creative with how they hire and keep teachers at their schools.
In the middle of rather a drama.
I've been thinking about the circumstances of the crime and the nature of love.
It's romantic, is it? Isn't it?
Seems to me as if the answer is right in front of you.
I'm a high-functioning sociopath. You are being irrational.
Need to go.
Will you do a blood test?
No.
You want to hit me now?
That makes me a wicked woman, sister.
Will the prisoner rise?
There is only one thing I would like.
Pain.
Sex?
Heartbreak.
Or love? Oh, yummy. Stop it!
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
The polls are open for a few more hours, and we're looking into some of the key issues in this election cycle.
Education, economic policy, and sustainability are just 3 of the issues that voters considered before filling in their ballot.
With a continuing teacher shortage in Arizona, districts are forced to find new ways to get teachers in the classroom. Cronkite News reporter Amanda Kukala shows us how districts are trying to sell themselves to new teachers.
Thank you. The 2 words students say to sum up the appreciation for their teacher. But the appreciation doesn't seem to be enough. The need for teachers is growing in Arizona. The Anderson Preparatory Academy is just one of many schools across the valley that's had to struggle to fill positions.
This industry is very hard to hire.
Adriana Brannon, the director of the academy, says with class enrollment higher than before, the want for more teachers has turned into a need. In having a family with 3 children, Adriana understands why hiring has been so difficult.
There's no benefits. And that's really hard, especially for a family, to not get any kind of benefits. They don't offer anything. And the pay is really, really low.
With these drawbacks, teachers have been leaving Arizona to Midwestern states with higher pay. A study by teachingdegree.org found average salaries in Minnesota are up to $20,000 more than in Arizona.
The problem with teachers leaving the classroom after just a few years is a problem all across the state.
So Brannon and her staff have turned to new ways to recruit and retain. The academy has hired nearly a third of their staff by using social media and other online sites. And with applicants being able to send a quick resume through email or scan an application with the click of a button, the academy says that the hiring process has been a lot easier and quicker.
We just put ads out everywhere we can. Go to Craigslist. We just went through Indeed. We just have to have 6 months of experience at least. And, fingerprint card, high school diploma, TB tests, and just love to be around kids.
Be around kids, help them learn, and hopefully remain in Arizona. In Phoenix, Amanda Kukala, Cronkite News.
The Arizona Attorney General's office is taking action against a father and son duo they say has been scamming thousands of dollars from undocumented immigrants who are trying to buy a home. Cronkite News reporter Alexis Dominguez tells us about how they allegedly took Valley residents' hard-earned money.
The company is called Pro Solutions and is owned by Ruben Diaz and his son Rodrigo. According to the Attorney General Mark Brnovich, his office has filed an Arizona consumer fraud and civil racketeering lawsuit against Pro Solutions, alleging Ruben and his son acted as loan officers to reel-in families trying to refinance or buy homes. Personal recommendations are the ones we usually trust most, but that wasn't the case for Luz Cortez, whose neighbor recommended Pro Solutions and Ruben Diaz when she was trying to purchase a home.
Ruben wanted an initial payment of $12,000 and an additional $3,000 for costs, and that's what we gave him so he could help us buy a house.
And the costs continue to grow. When Luz realized she was in trouble, she found her way to Pedro Morales, a loan officer who was familiar with the company and had already been trying to get similar cases in front of the Attorney General.
Someone contacted me asking me for help in regards of that somebody had been taken advantage of with $34,000.
Pedro says most of the victims don't care about the money.
We care about putting a stop to this guy because he's actually destroying families.
Sandra Hurtado says she too was a victim of Pro Solutions.
He started by speaking positively about possibly purchasing a home, and besides that, he told us the interest rates would be at 9% rather than the regular rate of 12 or 15%.
Sandra says that all the documents Ruben gave her to sign were written in English.
He explained everything in Spanish, but he left us with some doubts, so I asked my daughter to translate, and then she began explaining things differently than Ruben had previously.
After asking for a $3,000 refund, Sandra says all she got were excuses. Now, more than 6 months later, she still lives in an apartment with her family, waiting for a home and hoping for justice.
I want him to pay for what he's doing to a lot of people because it's not just us who this has happened to.
We tried repeatedly to interview Ruben Diaz of Pro Solutions. Unfortunately, he never returned our calls. Meanwhile, the Attorney General's office declined to speak because this is an ongoing case. If you believe you have been victim of consumer fraud, please contact the Attorney General's office in Phoenix. Bilingual consumer protection staff members are also available to assist. Alexis Dominguez, Cronkite News.
Today is World Water Day. It's been observed annually since the United Nations started it in 1993. Each year it has a different theme around water and current world issues. This year, water and jobs. And Samantha Witherwax is in our nation's capital talking to some Arizona leaders behind the initiative.
Today is the United Nations World Water Day, and experts from the desert came to D.C. to represent Arizona at the White House Water Summit earlier today.
We believe, of course, that safe, clean water is worth the price.
Catherine Sorensen was one of the many water officials from around the country who traveled to Washington to raise awareness of water issues and to find potential solutions.
It's important for all of us to get together, and D.C. is a great place to do it, and to have a place where we can all get together, talk about the issues we're facing, and see if there's innovative solutions that we can share, not just across the aisle, but also across the country.
Phoenix and Tucson were highlighted today for their conservation efforts, as they are currently in a partnership which allows Phoenix to store water within Tucson's infrastructure.
So by leveraging the infrastructure of both cities, we gain tremendous efficiencies and really create resiliency for both communities.
Timothy Tomer, director of Tucson Water Services, is happy with the progress that the partnership has made and is now looking towards the future.
We are looking at upwards of even close to 40,000 acre-feet of water per year that could be stored in Tucson facilities, which is about a third of Phoenix's allocation.
40,000 acre-feet is equivalent to a little over 13 billion gallons.
The more we can come together and work on these issues collaboratively, hey, that's a win-win for everybody.
Other cities in the valley are gaining interest in the Phoenix-Tucson partnership, which could lead to even greater conservation efforts for Arizona. Reporting from the White House, Samantha Witherwax, Cronkite News.
Long waits and lines as voters flock to the polls for the presidential preference election.
Coming up on Cronkite News, a look into a new study that shows how well those Arizona voters represent the nation as a whole.
Heaven knows you're a dreamer. Don't hide it from anyone. Don't hide it from anyone. Would you believe me if I said we are here for a reason now? This is our life. This is what counts. This is for us. I will go anywhere for you.
On this Arizona election day, it turns out our state voters are more representative of national political issues than most people may think.
Cronkite News reporter Lauren Clark is in Washington, where she found details and reactions to a new report on Arizona's electorate.
When I asked these tourists at the National Zoo where they were from.
I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Oregon?
Boston, north of Boston, Lawrence, Massachusetts.
Evansville, Indiana.
All of them were confident that their state was more reflective of the country as a whole than Arizona. But
it's Arizona. Is that kind of shocking?
It's a little shocking.
But it's surprising. Yeah.
You know, the authors of the Wallet Hub study were surprised too. In a ranking by the Financial Group, Arizona came in 4th as a state that most accurately reflects the entire country.
I'd still be pretty surprised.
But at a second look, it makes a lot more sense. The study not only examined demographics, but also public opinion, education, average income, and religious perspectives. For some figures, the scores are nearly identical. The average income in Arizona is near $49,000. Nationally, it's $50,000. Sorry, Iowa, but this isn't the face of America anymore. Neither is Nevada, coming in 20th, or South Carolina as 32nd. And it certainly isn't New Hampshire, ranking 44th as the most reflective overall. It's enough for the study creators to say now might be the time to rethink the system, having the states that best reflect the country have the biggest say. States like Arizona. Reporting in Washington, Lauren Clark, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS.
Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, could the U.S. House of Representatives choose the next president? We'll look into that, and we'll hear how Arizona's primary fits into the national political landscape. That's the next Arizona Horizon.
I'm Gwen Eichel on the next NewsHour. How to help 400,000 children in foster care beat the odds stacked against them. That's Tuesday on the PBS NewsHour.
And Cronkite News team coverage of the presidential preference election will continue throughout the evening.
Our team will be around the valley as the voters are tallied. See continuing coverage on our Storify and tune in at 11 p.m. for a live presidential preference special here on Arizona PBS. That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.